सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. We have completed 5th chapter in the last class. Today we will be covering the bird's eye view of the entire 5th chapter, so-called summary. Paramatma had given the entire Gita teaching in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th chapters of Gita. And in the 5th chapter, Paramatma is summarizing the teaching he had given in the previous 3 chapters. Even though this chapter is very small, it is very important chapter, which gives the essence of the entire Gita teaching. And in fact, the entire Vedic teaching itself is packed in this particular chapter. This particular chapter can be classified into 4 portions. The first part deals with 2 types of lifestyles. In Sanskrit, we call it Nishthaha. Nishthaha means the way of living, the lifestyle. We have 4 different kinds of lifestyles: Brahmacharyam, Gruhasthashramam, Vanaprastham, Sannyasam. These are the 4 Nishtas prescribed in Veda. Paramatma is emphasizing on 2 ashramas or 2 Nishtas. One is called Gruhastha Ashrama, other one is called Sannyasa. The other 2 are preparatory lifestyles. Brahmacharya Ashrama is a preparation for Gruhastha Ashrama. In the same way, Vanaprastham is a preparation for Sannyasa Ashrama. So, these 2 are not discussed. Directly, Paramatma discussed the Sannyasa Ashrama and the Gruhastha Ashrama by the term Nishthaha. This is the first topic. This is called Nishtadvayam. The second topic is Sadhanadvayam. Sadhanadvayam means the spiritual disciplines, the spiritual practices, which every seeker has to necessarily go through these disciplines without option. They are Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam. This is Sadhanadvayam, second topic. The third topic is the benefit of following these 2 sadhanas, the sadhana phalam. This is the third topic. And fourth and the final topic is a preparatory topic for the next chapter. 6th chapter deals with meditation, so it connects to 6th chapter by giving a preparatory ground for meditation. So this is the scheme of 5th chapter. If we go quickly, all the 4 topics, the first topic deals with Nishtadvayam, second deals with Sadhanadvayam, third deals with Sadhana Phalam, fourth, the preparatory ground for Dhyana Yogam or Atma Samyamana Yogam. So now we will go to the first one, the first topic called Nishtadvayam. There are 2 lifestyles, as you know. One is called the Gruhastha Ashrama, the other one is called Sannyasa Ashrama. The life of a sannyasi a renunciate, a monk. Grihastha means the life of householder, where he has got a lot of duties, commitments, responsibilities. In sannyasa ashrama, these responsibilities are not there because he is not a householder. Now Arjuna got a doubt. Which one will lead to moksham? There is a strong misconception among the philosophers themselves that only through sannyasa ashrama you will get moksham, which is not true, which Paramatma clarified in these shlokas. Arjuna also had the doubt, so he again asked Paramatma, you are talking about both these ashramas, both you are praising, which one is good? You please tell me which one will lead to moksham. So, asmin loke dve nishta santi. So, in this lokam, in this world, two kinds of nishtas are there, lifestyles are there. Which one is better? So, this was the doubt of Arjuna. Is sannyasa ashrama compulsory for moksham? There are both plus points and minus points for both the ashramas. Like sannyasa ashrama, you don't have the household work and household responsibilities and household duties. Therefore, there is ample and quality time for a sannyasi. But in sannyasa ashrama, there is no security, there is no bank balance, there is no person who can take care of you. You don't have family members around you. So this kind of insecurity, as though he is insecure, it appears. Whereas a grihastha is having his family members around and all his property, bank balance, everything is there to lean upon. So that advantage is there, but the quality time is not available for him to do mananam and nididhyasanam. So in both the ashramas, there are advantages, there are disadvantages. Actually, the grihastha feels sannyasa ashrama is better. And a sannyasi feels he did a mistake by taking up the monkship. He should not have taken up the sannyasam. So like that, whenever he sees a grihastha comfortably living, so he will have in his mind whether he did the right thing or not. So this kind of conflict will always be there in both the ashramas. In sloka number 4, Paramatma says, Sankhya yoga prudak balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyastita samyak ubhayor vindate phalam. So, balaha pravadanti, Sankyam and Yogam. They are prudak. Prudak means they are different. They are different in the sense they give different karma phala. Both will not lead to moksham. That is only the verdict of balaha. Balaha means not the children, not kids. Balaha here means the immatured people, na panditaha, not the matured and jnanis, and those who know the Shastram. So it is only the version of immature people that Sankhyam and Yogam both are different. Both will lead to different kinds of karma phala. That is, Sankhyam and Yoga means Gruhasthashramam and Sannyasashramam. They will lead to different phalam. Only through sannyasam you will get moksham. That is their version. Whose version? Immatured people. Balaha. Whereas Panditaha, whereas Jnanis, they don't opine the same thing. They feel that they are same. Ekam api stitaha samyak ubayor vindate phalam. Both will give you the same result. Both will lead you to moksham. Gruhastu also can get moksham. A sannyasi also can get moksham. We have examples like Janaka Maharaja is a Gruhastu Jnani. So he got moksham. There are so many Gruhastu Jnanis who got moksham. So it is not compulsory that one has to take the sannyasam to get moksham. So this is the idea. Paramatma wants Arjuna to remain in Gruhasthasrama because his mind is not matured. It will be very dangerous if an immature person takes up sannyasa. It will be disastrous for the very ashrama itself because he doesn't know what he is doing. So Paramatma knows the mental makeup of Arjuna. He is only talking out of emotion, out of emotional outburst. He is not talking this with a maturity in his mind. So Paramatma advocates Gruhasthasrama for him. So he says that with Gruhasthasrama also you can get moksham. Tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo visishyate sannyaasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptum ayogataha. So Paramatma concludes that between the sannyasa ashrama and gruhastha ashrama is always better because he need not run around for his day-to-day living. He need not worry about his day-to-day living. So his day-to-day minimum requirement will be taken care of and he can continue the sadhana. Whereas for a sannyasi, he has to go for his daily bread and ask for bhiksha. That kind of thing is not there for a gruhastu. And Arjuna is not matured enough. So if any immature person takes up sannyasam, it will give him lot of pain and dukkham. So that is dukkhamaptum ayogataha. For an immature, unqualified person, sannyasam is a real painful affair. So that is what Paramatma is saying. So this is a comparison between a non-qualified sannyasi and a gruhastu. It is not a real comparison between sannyasam and gruhastu. For an unqualified sannyasi, for an immature sannyasi, for an unqualified person, for an immature person, gruhasthashramam is always better. because he cannot stand the loneliness. He cannot stand that insecurity. So as a sannyasi, his security lies with Paramatma. So if he is a doubting Tom, really difficult for him to live in that state. So in that angle, Paramatma says the Grihasthasrama is superior to Sannyasasrama. With this, the Nishtadvayam is over. Now Sadhanadvayam. Sadhanadvayam is the next topic. Two types of spiritual disciplines. What are those disciplines? Karma Yoga Sadhana and Jnana Yoga Sadhana. Paramatma wants to emphasize, as far as sadhanas are concerned, there is no choice at all. In the previous topic, the Nishtadvayam, there is a choice. Whereas Sadhanadvayam, there is no choice at all. This is very, very important point to remember. Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam are not given as optional means of liberation. They have to be followed in that order. Krama Samuchayam means they should be combined one after the other chronologically. First one has to take up Karma Yogam and then they have to go to Jnana Yogam. That is the path to liberation. Sadhanadvayam. In Karma Yogam, what one has to do is do the karma, that is the karma beneficial to the society at large. Earlier he was doing the karmas which is beneficial to himself and his family members. Now he will choose the karma which is beneficial to the society at large, and he is also one of the beneficiary among so many. So such activities he will take up, and after completion of the activity, he will offer that to Ishvara. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. So he takes up right action, that is Panchamahayajnas, Para Upakara Karma he will take up, and then he hands it over to Ishvara. Whenever you complete an action, you are bound to get the result of that action. The result may be in your favor or it may not be in your favor. When the result is not in your favor, you don't brood, you are not obsessed with the karma phala. You have expectation, but if the result happened to be adverse, the result happened to be against your wish, then also you don't brood. You take it as Ishvara Prasadam. You receive it with reverence that the karma phala is directly from the Lord himself. So you have the reverence for both the favorable karma phala and unfavorable karma phalas. So this attitude is called Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. Right action and right attitude. Right action is taking up the Veda Vihita karmas, Pancha Mahayajnas, Para Upakara karmas. This is the right action. Right attitude is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, that is after completion of the work, you offer the work unto God and receive the karma phala as Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. So this is the advantage. So this is mentioned in the Sloka 10 in this chapter. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena patmapatramivambhasa. Karmani adaya. So by offering the karmas unto Brahmani, unto that Sachidananda Paramatma. So Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, with that Buddhi you do the karmas. Sangam Tyaktva Karoti Yaha. So without any sangatvam towards the karma phala, so he will not be obsessed with the karma phala. He does work, he has expectation, but he is not obsessed with the karma phala. So whoever does this, such person is mentioned here, Saha na lipyate papena. So he is not attached, he doesn't accrue any papam. Any papam means he doesn't accrue punyam or papam. How? Padmapatram iva ambhasa. So this lotus leaf is right in the water. It is very much in the water, but it is not wet by even a droplet of water. If water falls on this lotus leaf, the water rolls like a pearl, and slightest wind will throw away that droplet from the lotus leaf. So Padmapatram iva ambhasa. So as the Padmapatram is unattached, this karma yogi is not attached with karma phalas. Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. This is the meaning. So this karma yoga helps a sadhaka to purify his antakaranas. So all his antakaranas will be cleansed by karma yoga. This is the greatest advantage of karma yogam. So everyone has to go through the purifying action. Even a sannyasi has to go through purifying action. The purifying action of a sannyasi will be different from the purifying action of a householder. The action will differ, but the aim is what? The mind should become purer and purer. This topic of sadhana dvayam is dealt from sloka number 7 up to 12. So the sannyasi does karma as Guru Susrusha, then the Veda Patanam, like Upanishadic Patanam, then Brahma Sutra Patanam, Adhyayanam. All this will become karma, mantra, ucharana. These are all the karmas for a sannyasi. Whereas for a gruhastu, the karmas are pancha maha yajnas, para upakara karmas, Veda vihita karmas. Sometimes the Veda nishiddha karma, a person helplessly does it. Then also, if he does it with Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, what happens? The Paramatma will give him the sufficient mind to avert from such action and to get an opportunity to do the right actions. So every action you have to offer it unto Paramatma. Sometimes if you are doing Nishiddha karma also, this is a rare case. Some people are helplessly, they are forced to do Nishiddha karmas, and such people, if they do it as Ishvara Arpana Buddhi with Shraddha and Bhakti, they will be transformed and they will get an opportunity to get out of that situation by the grace of the Lord. So this is about the Karma Yogam. Regarding the Jnana Yogam, so he has to acquire a guru and listen to Shastra consistently for a long time and do Mananam and Nididhyasanam. So this is the scheme. Then the Paramatma also gives the stages of progress. Yoga yukto visuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvanna pinalipyate. Then having talked about Karma Yoga sadhana, Paramatma also talks about Jnana Yogam, which is the next stage of sadhana, which gives the knowledge of the self, the real self. These are dealt from sloka number 13 up to 21. So both Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam are compulsory for everyone, and they have to be followed in that order. There is no way of getting out of Jnana Yoga. People think that Jnana Yoga is dry and tough, so by mere following Karma Yoga they can get moksham, which is not true. So one has to understand one's reality and then do Vedanta Vichara, Vedanta Sravana Manana Nididhyasanam, and get Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. And what is this study lead to? And what is this study all about? This study will lead to the recognition of Atma, the real nature of every individual. So this study will lead to the recognition of Atma, which is the real nature and essential nature, the core nature, the higher nature of the individual, which is called Atma. Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan nakartrutvam nakarbani lokasya srujati prabhu nakarma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate nadatte kasyachit papam nacheva sukrutam vibhuhu. I do not have punyam, I do not have papam. That is, the consciousness, the Atma is free from punyam and papam. Because I am Atma, I am free from punyam and papam. This Navadvare Pure Dehi is given by Paramatma. He says that the Sariram is a Puram with 9 gates. It is like a gated community. The 7 gates are in the face, like 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. And then 2 in the bottom of the body, that is the urinary organ and the excretory organ, Upastu and Payu. So with this 9 gates are there. Some of the gates are, only in gates. Some of them are out gates. Some of them are both in and out. So like this, we have the Puram. In this Puram, there is a Puraswami. There is a Lord who is ruling this Puram. That Puraswami is Atma. How do you know that Puraswami is Atma? When you go to Sushupti, the Sthola Sariram is not functional. The Sushma Sariram is not functional. Yet you are there, enjoying that bliss. That means the Atma is continuing in all 3 avasthas, Jagrada Avastha, Swapna Avastha and Sushupti Avastha. And that Atma is responsible for the functioning of this body, for the sentiency of this body. The body is jadam, the body is inert by nature. It cannot do any sentient activity like talking, thinking, moving and all that. But it does all these activities by the very blessing of the Atma, by the very presence of this Atma. Sannidhi matrena. In the presence of Atma, all this is happening. Like the light, in the presence of light, we can do all the activities. If it is pitch dark, you cannot do any activity. But the light is not responsible for the activities. In the same way, the Atma is not responsible. So, Navadvare Pure Dehi Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. So, this Puraswami is Adhishtanam for this Puram. All these activities are happening in the very presence of this Atma, Puraswami. Where is this Puraswami? Navadvare Pure Dehi. So this is the greatest advantage. When we talk about Atma as Sarva Vyapakam, Indriya Gocharam, and so many descriptions are there about Atma, then you are totally confused how to recognize this, where to catch this Atma. Now Paramatma is revealing the secret. To know this Atma, you need not run around. That Atma is your very reality, your very self. Navadvare Pure Dehi Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. So in this very nine-gated community, the Puraswami is present and he is not doing anything, nor he is instigating anybody to do anything. It's not an agent of action, nor he is the person who is acting. So in his very presence, like in the presence of light, all the activity is happening. In the very presence of Atma, all this activity takes place. The Atma reflects in the mind and creates a Chidabhasa. And that Chidabhasa creates Chidabhasa in Indriyas. Indriyas in turn create Chidabhasa in Indriyas. The Indriyas create Chidabhasa in the Stula Shariram. Sushma Shariram creates Chidabhasa in the Stula Shariram. And the entire body becomes sentient and active. So this is how the presence of Atma makes an inert body sentient. Nakartrutvam nakarmani lokasya srijati prabhu. So this Paramatma doesn't own up any kartrutvam, or he doesn't take up any karma. In his very presence, all these things are happening. So this is one important stage which a sadhaka must perform. He must understand there are two things in this world. One is called Atma and Anatma. So he should do this Vivekam. Atma is Ekam, Nityam, Saram, Satyam. Anatma is Anekam, Anityam, Asaram, Asatyam. Asatyam means Midya. So there are so many bodies, so many things around which you can see as idam, like that you can see and experience. All these objects, all these vastus are Anatma, including your body, mind, sense complex. This Puram, whatever we call Navadvare Pure, this Puram of 9 gates is an Atma. The Puraswami is Atma. So you have distinguished what is Atma, what is Anatma, because Atma is eternal, Nityam, Satyam and Ekam. So Anatma, that is the body, the Puram, is subject to a lot of changes, and it is born on a particular day and finally dies on a particular day. So it is subject to arrivals and departures. So this is not Nityam. The body, BMS, the body mind sense complex, is not Nityam, Anityam. And how many bodies are there in this Jagat, there are so many bodies are there. Anekam, Anityam. And just the body itself cannot perform the action without the presence of Atma, without the grace of Atma. So the body is asaram, whereas Atma is saram, adhishtanam, the very essence of this body. So when I distinguish the Atma and Anatma, then I should know my real self is Atma, my reality is Atma. Anatma is not my reality. This is what I should recognize. Then, having recognized the Atma and Anatma, then I should also extend this to others. Because the same Atma is there in other bodies also. In same Gita, further Paramatma is going to talk about Kshetram and Kshetrajnam. Kshetram means the Puram, Kshetrajna means Puraswami. So he says, Kshetrajnam chapimam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetrajnam chapimam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Same Kshetrajna is there in every body, in every Sariram. That means the same Atma prevails all bodies, all BMS. So my body, mind, sense complex will have an Atma. The same Atma is there in your body also. Like we have, heart, liver, kidney and all that. I have a heart, I have a liver, I have kidney. My heart is different from your heart. My kidney is different from your kidney. My liver is different from your liver. In the same way, my Atma is different from your Atma. This kind of kidney logic will not work when it comes to Atma. Atma ekam. Same Atma is there in all bodies. This is the important lesson one should understand. When the same Atma is there and the reality is Atma alone, where is the difference? All are equal. The differences are only just superficial. They are not real. They are kalpanikam, imaginary. So, at this stage, the Jnani realizes sarvatra samadarsanam. So, the consciousness is all pervading. The Atma is all pervading. Atma means my real self is all pervading. The same Atma is present in all bodies. So, that ekatvam, that all are equal. Ishvara and Jiva is equal. Because the same Atma is there in macro level in Ishvara. So with its Sarvatma Bhavana is the greatest advantage in this type of analysis. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunicheva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarsanaha. At this stage, the sadhaka realizes the samatvam in everything. So here Paramatma gives 5 different things. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane. So a Brahmin who is scholarly person and who is having Vinayam, this is one person, and a cow, an elephant, a dog and a dog eater. 5 things are taken from the highest rung of the ladder to the lowest level, that Swanicheva Swapakecha. Swapakecha is a Chandala. From the society level, the most revered is a Brahmana, and most downtrodden one who is looked down is Chandala. Society's nature. So here, this sadhaka looks at all these people, the Brahmana and Chandala equal. the sadhaka treats Brahmana and Chandala equal, Sarvatva Samabhavana. This is the Sarvatma Bhavana or Sarvatra Samabhavana. My Atma is prevailing in Chandala also. My Atma is prevailing in a Brahmana also. My Atma is prevailing in a dog. My Atma is prevailing in elephant. My Atma is prevailing in cow. So various things are chosen, and finally Paramatma wants to say that the same Atma is prevailing in all this. So there is no difference at all. Don't have any dvesham. So this is the lesson given by Paramatma. But then this is in the back of the mind. This bhavana must continue 24/7 in the mind. You should not have any dvesha buddhi. You should have the samatva bhavana in all. But in vyavahara, in day-to-day life, you can have the difference. Like, the Shastra says the beggar and the rich man both are same, because same Atma is prevailing. But that doesn't mean a rich man calls a beggar and ask him to live in his house. In Vyavahara, the difference is maintained. Yet, because of his compassion, he will lend his helping hand. Because he developed a compassionate mind, so he can extend his helping hand to any extent. So this is the advantage. Sarvatra Samadarsanam. Then Paramatma wants to conclude the topic of Jnana Yoga in the verses 13 to 21. The Karma Yoga is the first stage. The Jnana Yoga is the second stage. Jnana Yoga leads to wisdom. I am full, I am immortal, I am whole and complete. Aham Purnaha Asmi. Then 22nd to 26th, Paramatma talks about the phalam, the sadhana phalam, talks about a particular spiritual value and also talks about the benefit of this Atma Jnanam. Many spiritual values are prescribed in Shastras. Paramatma highlights one particular value here, that is Vairagyam. What do you mean by Vairagyam? Understanding the limitation of the dependence on external factors for our happiness. Usually what we think is people will give happiness, then the things will give you happiness, then places will give you happiness, incidents will give you happiness. Like that, an external factor, you depend so much. What Shastra says, physically you have to depend. Physically there is no option. But psychologically you need not depend. Psychologically you can have that freedom. So, a dependence on external factors for our happiness is a big problem. Because external factors are not under your control. So, Sarvam Paravasam Dukkham, Sarvam Atmavasam Shantam Anandam. So if you surrender unto external factors, you are bound to get sorrow. Whereas if you surrender to Atma, you will have joy and happiness here and now. For psychological dependence, you can depend on Atma. So that is what physically you have to depend. Na prakrushyet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam sthira buddhirasam moodaha brahma vid brahmani sthitaha. So drop the dependence on external factors. Learn to depend on yourself. for your shanti, for your tripti, for your purnatvam, for your security. For everything, learn to depend on yourself. Yourself means which self? Not the inferior self. Learn to depend upon your higher self, that is Atma. The same thing Paramatma mentioned in chapter 3. Asya Atma Ratireva Syat Atma Truptascha Manava Atmanyevacha Santushta Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate. The things and people are around wonderful. They are not around equally wonderful. If I have such a mental condition, then and then alone I am free. And this attitude is called Vairagyam. Gradually dropping all external dependencies, especially psychologically. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rishaya Kshina Kalmashaha. So thus Vairagyam and Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti were talked from sloka number 22 to 26. With this, the main purpose of the 5th chapter is over. Paramatma wants to build foundation for 6th chapter, Atma Samyamana Yogam, that is the chapter on meditation. So he talks some preliminary aspects of Dhyanam and then builds a connection to chapter 6 so that we can learn the meditation at length in chapter 6. With this, Paramatma concludes chapter 5. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.